Hi, I'm Dr. Thulja Trikamjee. I'm a specialist pediatrician and a pediatric and adult allergist, and I work at the UCT Lung Institute, and I also work with allergies with children and adults here within the Melomed group. I studied at UKZN, that's where I did my medical degree. I then pursued a career in pediatrics through the Nelson R. Mandela School of Medicine. And then I made a move to Cape Town, where I subspecialized in pediatric allergology.
Doctor, if you look worldwide, why is there increase of allergies?
Allergies are rapidly increasing in the world. If you look at some of the most common conditions that you get with children, right now I think food allergy has become a problem of epidemic proportions. The first world has shown a massive increase in food allergies, and I think now with the multiple studies being done in the third world, in the South African population, we're finding that more and more children in the affluent communities, but also within the rural areas, are showing to have an increase, a 3- to 4-fold increase in food allergies. Of course, with adults, food allergies are not as prevalent. In adults, we see more environmental problems, so environmental asthma, occupational allergies, seasonal allergies, so reactions to house dust mite, pollen, grass, and things like that.
If you look at parents, germaphobes, you're talking about being psychotic. Are we really psychotic as parents?
Yes. So Gershwin, the thing about allergies is that, a lot of people ask this question of why previously we didn't have allergists, and why did we not hear this much about allergies. It's almost like a buzzword at the moment all around the world. Allergies are increasing for a number of reasons. There are many hypotheses for these. One of them is the hygiene hypothesis, which states that basically, simple English, the cleaner we're becoming, the more allergic and the more infectious we're becoming. So what that means is that our lifestyles have changed so much now. We are becoming more psychotic about washing our hands, using artificial alcohols to wash our hands, removing some of the bad bacteria but also the good bacteria, so starting on our skin, which is a massive immune organ. We're also eating less natural foods, so a lot of the fruit and vegetables we buy are not coming straight from the farm. Industrialization has changed the manner in which food is manufactured. That's another factor. And then also, of course, we go to the doctor for everything.
We always heard our grandparents or mothers talking about when they were small, and you got grandmother's remedies. Talk us about that.
So many of us have heard tales and stories from our grandmothers, who, when they got sick, not only didn't have access to super specialists, it wasn't a thing of the past, but even doctors in general. Most people at that time, if you were sick, what you did was you practiced some sort of home remedies. But what that meant was that your immune system was now getting used to and fighting and attacking off the bug on its own. And what that did in terms of your immune system and your immune response is it made it stronger. We tend to use what we call exogenous ways, which means something from outside of the body to kill off bugs. And what this does is makes our immune system and our immune mechanism lazy, which then renders us more susceptible to reacting to the random things such as your pollen and your dust and your dogs and your cats, which previously immune systems weren't as reactive to.
What advice would you have for parents? Parents are first-time parents, or maybe their second kid, but they're too worried about feeding their children, the best food, so to speak.
I think that what's important, a take-home message for most parents, is that children should be exposed. My message as a pediatrician is always expose, expose, expose. And that exposure starts from the day you find out that you're pregnant. So previously, when you became pregnant, if you came from a background of strong allergies or what we call an atopic profile, you were told, stay away from the peanuts, stay away from the eggs, your child may become allergic, stay away from the seafood. Studies have been done on blood that passes through the umbilical cord now, and those studies have actually shown that food proteins pass through the cord to the placenta to the child. what this means is that while your child is in utero, still inside your tummy, if you're going to be eating peanut and you're going to be eating egg, your child's immune system is now getting exposed to these teeny tiny little proteins when it's at a very crucial period of growth. So your immune system is growing, and while it's growing, it's getting exposed to this stuff, and that's the best time you could get exposed to it because your immune system is more likely to become tolerant. And then of course, once the children are born, exposure, exposure, exposure again. Let them get exposed to all of these allergens. So again, the peanut, the milk, the egg, the seafood, let them get exposed to these things as early as possible. And I usually recommend 4 to 6 months. We call it a golden period in which your immune system again is going through a massive and rapid change, meaning that there's lots of tiny little soldiers that are being built up in your immune system at that period, and that's when you want to catch the body. You want to catch it and let it be exposed to these things so that these little soldiers are then, when your child goes to creche and school at the age of 5 or 6, and the little kid next to them says, have a bite of my peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and they take a bite of it, these little soldiers are like, okay, well, we know what this is. We're going to pull out our defenses and we're going to digest this like we know how to digest it, because our mummies have taught us how to take this. So let them get exposed to that as early as possible. And then the other thing is, obviously, dietitians might not like us saying this, but being very strict about keeping them away from junk foods. Obviously, everything in moderation is good. And a lot of the junk foods that children eat are laden with lots of preservatives and colorants and chemicals. And if our children don't get exposed to these things earlier, obviously, you know, when mom and dad are not around, and one day the child is at a party and takes a bite of a marshmallow, takes a lick of a lollipop, suddenly immune system is going to start reacting because it's never been exposed to this ever before.
What do you love about your job?
What I love most about my job is the results that I see. I find that with allergies, unlike working with a lot of the chronic illnesses that have a progressive nature, with allergies, yes, there is a progressive nature, meaning that it can get worse with time. But when they're properly managed, you see results. You see really, really great results. And some of my fondest stories are of babies coming to me where the entire bodies are covered, bad eczema, completely flaking skin. And you have this really distraught mother, and 6 months to a year later, I get photographs on my phone of this baby happy and smiling and wearing the cutest little outfit, sitting at a picnic somewhere, enjoying a holiday, completely exposed, you know, with beautiful clear skin, and then you see this massive smile on the mother's face. And for me, that's the best part of my job.